Good morning, YouTube. I'm starting my videos off by this window quite a lot, I've recently realised. But anyway, today's video, we're going to be trying out the WOBZZ pills by Samuel's. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I did try one of these yesterday. Obviously I had to realise what the sort of final effects of it was before I made the video. So, I'm not going to go into it in complete detail now, because we'll wait for later on in the video. I'll take another one today, so it can't have been that bad. And I'm going to take it alongside some pump formula as well. I'll just show you, And an outfit change as well. How lucky you guys. I think this is probably the same thing that I wore in my last video I recorded. But anyway, this is what the WOBZZ pill looks like. It's a little black capsule. I said pill, it's a capsule, isn't it? So anyway, so I'm running this alongside that's the wrong one, Crack and Pump in popsicle flavour, just for an additional bit of pump, as the name indicates. To be honest, I think you probably could run a little bit of stimulants alongside it. It is 200 milligrams of caffeine, but there's obviously other stimulants in there. However, I wasn't like wired yesterday. I had poor sleep. I've had a lot better sleep last night, but I wasn't like it wasn't like crazy stimulant. So yeah, you could probably run a little bit of caffeine alongside it. So, if it's not already obvious, I'm a little bit more of a half fan than Mo. Molly? What the hell? Anyway, I'm now going to take my pre-workout capsule, because Mr. Samuels says to take it about 15 minutes before you're actually going to train. So not before you go to the gym, but 15 minutes before you actually train. And I like to do a little bit of warm-ups and stuff like that, get some blood in the muscle. Yeah, so I like to get a little bit more blood in the muscle, get some pre-activation movements going. Joking. And unfortunately they don't have a water fountain in my gym, so I can't go walking around and say, "You got any water, mate? I could do with some water, mate. Have you got any water?" What is up, guys? Okay, so we're going to hit a little voiceover for this workout. We're going to talk about some subjects, though. It's not going to be a boring one. So I asked on Instagram for a subject matter, and in the first four, two people asked about my lifting belt and why I wear my lifting belt so much. So we're going to do why do I wear my lifting belt so much on the subject. It's a mixture of different reasons, really, and I think majority of them are positive, but there's some good and bad points about wearing my lifting belt. The first one is extra support, and basically to avoid injury. I've had once or twice pulled my back, and then I was out of training for a few days and I didn't like it. Next is going to be, of course, targeting the muscle group. So a lot of the time when we're doing exercises, you actually end up fatiguing, for example, your forearms, which is why people wear grips, or your core in this case. Next is just force of habit. I've gotten used to wearing my lifting belt, and it kind of feels a bit weird not wearing my lifting belt. So force of habit is also another one. Next is just pure laziness. So obviously taking and putting back on your belt all the time can get a little bit boring, so I just leave it on sometimes, and that purely is just lazy. Now this one is very bro sciencey, and to be honest, it's not really a factor of why I wear my belt, but apparently sometimes wearing your lifting belt can help with keeping your waist tight. I don't fully believe that, but there's evidence out there that it may help. Free music. Everybody loves free stuff. I thought I would bring to you some more information, just random pieces of information on here. I fill in a little bit of time whilst people enjoy watching the workout videos. And I'm going to talk about free music. So a lot of people use Spotify for their gym playlists, but podcasts get very overlooked. Now, you can find a lot of music for free on podcasts. If you go onto the search tool and put in whatever music you want, say rave music, you can find genres, different genres for different music on podcasts. There's grime, there's loads of grime on podcasts, and you can download it whilst you have internet and then listen to it when you're in the gym. So you don't have to pay for Spotify monthly. There's even hip hop. There's even hip hop on here. So you don't have to pay for Spotify monthly, and you don't have to have ads if you don't pay for Spotify monthly. Okay, so moving into the workout, I hope you guys enjoyed that little piece of information. I've been using podcasts for years. I do really enjoy them, and there's a lot of informative content out there as well. So obviously, rows. This is a slight different variation of barbell rows for me. Never used chains before on this exercise, so I'm on a new week of a new training block, new training cycle. So I always like to experiment with different exercises or slightly different loading on different exercises, and it really allows you to be able to pick and choose and play around, get a little bit more inventive, and get your love back for a new movement. This is also a new movement for me, so that's 3 new movements, because the first close grip lat pull down that you saw me do is a changeover from a different exercise as well. So this is a single arm pull down. Because you can kind of pull down onto outside of the left of myself here, you can engage your obliques a little bit more. And because it's also single arm, you can progress in weight a little bit better, because a lot of lat pull down machines only go up to like 100 kilos, and then it's a little bit difficult to add additional weight to that. So if you can rep out 100 kilos easily, there's not really much you can do other than just doing single arm on different exercises. So that's one reason why I've changed to this one. And then also I've just like a little bit of a different angle. Okay, so next we're going to look at another reason why I wear my lifting belt so much. So side by side, you can see the difference in how it looks on picture or video in wearing a belt or not wearing a belt. Obviously, the V-taper is a lot more accentuated, and you can kind of see how the lines of the body just work a little bit better when you're wearing a belt. So if you see me on social media wearing it, that's probably because it just looks better, and especially if you're trying to do a film or a picture, things that help it look better generally make the picture do better. So that's why I wear my belt in them. And then obviously we've got shrugs, and of course heavy loading, especially like this where it's in front of the body. It's always helpful to have some more support, so why not? Traps is something which I'm trying to bring up a little bit more. My back is fairly well developed, but my upper traps I think could do with a little bit more of a fine tuning. So I'm doing a little bit more traps and then higher row movements, which is what this is. So I was doing a high machine row, but I've stacked out that machine too much, and getting up to like 17 reps on a machine that presses into your chest, it just doesn't feel very comfortable. So I've decided to change that for a high position dumbbell row. I do a normal position dumbbell row on my first back day of the week, and then now I've just introduced this high row. The angle's not massively different, but you should feel the difference in where it targets. It will be targeting more of your upper back and your traps. Next and finally, we've got occlusion work. So we're doing occlusion bicep curls here, and I've got a clip of this is the first set, and the first set looks pretty easy. Like I start to have a little bit more of a struggle towards the end. We're going for 17 reps, 5 sets with a 20-second rest period in between. So the first set always looks fairly easy, but trust me, as soon as we get into this last set, which is this set here, the pump is so much that you can't. It's a struggle to curl your arms. So metabolite work and occlusion training you should always put towards the end of your session, because if you tried to do pull-ups or anything after this, well, your biceps would be spent, so you wouldn't be able to get very much out of your training. So you have to constantly readjust and get a little bit of blood to go through the muscles. And my God, the pump is insane on inclusion work. And I do love it. It's something which I've done before, and I will probably keep in. So last exercise is a little bit of rear delts. I call this a rear delt seal fly, or seal rear delt flies, and it's very low cables all the way down to the bottom, chest down onto a bench, and then you're pulling in a reverse fly, but also like a pullover movement. So not only is your rear delts getting some work, but your lats also get a little bit of work in there as well, and your traps too, to be fair. It's a little bit of an all-round back movement. Okay, so decent session. Let's throw some more review at the pump WOBZZ pills. So, was there a crash? I wouldn't really call it a crash, but there was definite dip in energy. I would say about 50 minutes to an hour in, energy levels definitely dipped a little bit. Obviously we can't say pump because I took pump formula. Focus wise, I would say okay, nothing amazing. Initial energy, I would give it a 8 out of 10 until the dip. Initial focus, I would say 6.5, 7 out of 10. We'll go with 6.5. Convenience, obviously it's a 10, you know, just straight in. And then crash, I would say maybe a 5 out of 10. It was noticeable, but nothing detrimental to the session. It definitely helped to make music sound a little bit better. Is it anything like dropping other drugs? No, not really. So other pre-workouts out there, I would say with the market that we have at the moment, I would say it's not the best. It's okay. It's a solid 7 out of 10 for the overall. So nothing to rant and rave about, in my opinion. But still, it's nice to see YouTubers making products, and definitely Mo is someone that really enjoys stimulants and things like that. Really enjoys music, and it's cool to see YouTubers making new moves. Especially not like the massive YouTubers, like with hundreds of thousands of or nearly millions of followers. You know, obviously making supplements for them is a very good idea, but it's nice to see smaller YouTubers making stuff as well. There was one more thing I was going to say. I need to finish my intro. That was another thing. My appetite, or my ability to drink my intro, definitely went down. There was one more thing I was going to say. I'm back home and I remembered what it was. So, obviously, I probably wouldn't have bought this product if Mo hadn't talked about how amazing it was and how much great stimulant it was and all the rest of it. But I always find with products like this, people hype them up so much, you have such a high expectation for it, and then you take it and you're like, I mean, it's a good pre-workout, but I was expecting higher, you know? So, would I ever take 2? Hell no. But, you know, I think it was hyped up a little too much. But then, on the other side of things, if it wasn't hyped up so much, I wouldn't have bought it. So, from Mo's side of things, I can completely understand why I did it. But there you go. Anyway, that was what I forgot to say. Anyway, I'll let myself outro previously. I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to do any more for the rest of the day, because otherwise the videos end up being really long. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Mo. It's not an ad or anything. He didn't give it to me for free. I bought it. But thank you, Mo, for the constant high quality content. And if you haven't subscribed to Mo, the 300 people that might watch this video, go and subscribe to Mo. Have a good one. Peace.